Boy, oh boy, do I have a story for you today. A lot of you have heard about the FTX saga, but I'm gonna give you guys some information that I haven't heard anywhere else. I've been doing a lot of research on this over the last few days, and I wanted to come through with a really concise and detailed video. So if you guys already know the beginning of the majority of this story, you're in luck because I broke this video up into 3 parts. The first part is basically the story that we have up to now, so if you know that, fine. Part 2 is going to be the possible consequences that are coming out of this situation that will be emerging probably within a few days or maybe this week. And part 3 is going to be broken up into the conspiracies. Plus, I have some really valuable ties in that no one's talking about that you're not going to want to miss. I'm going to leave that towards the middle or end part of this video, so please stick around for that. All right, so let's get started. Okay, so the story goes like this. There's a guy by the name of Sam Bankman-Fried who got his start in crypto back in 2019, where he used to buy Bitcoin here in the United States, and then he would sell it in Japan for 10% more. And by doing this, he was making up to $25 million a day sometimes. This led him to then go and found Alameda Research, which was a company where they would basically just trade cryptocurrencies and try to make money with strategies, right? And it's important for you to know this because Alameda Research is very closely tied to FTX because the same founder. So then later he went on to found FTX, which is a crypto exchange where you can buy and sell cryptocurrencies and then a lot of other things that they ended up doing. So what he did was he got his foot in the door with politicians so that way he can kind of fly under the radar. So he was the second biggest contributor to Joe Biden's campaign, which obviously, Joe Biden ended up winning. So that was basically giving him the open door to do whatever he wanted here in the United States. Later, then he went to go and invest a lot of money with athletes, actors, financial people on YouTube who have just been promoting the heck out of FTX for the last few years. And if you recall, there was even a Super Bowl commercial with FTX. So the FTX name has been everywhere. They even got the naming rights for the Miami Heat arena. So a lot of money has gone into marketing, and people really were just getting the impression that this guy was going to be the next JP Morgan of crypto, is what some people called him. And he was just like, he couldn't do no wrong. This guy was just the poster boy of just wealth in crypto, right? People would never think that this guy was in a pinch. And recently, when we had a lot of turmoil in the crypto space, Sam came out and said, secretly, a lot of exchanges are bankrupt and people don't even know it. And he couldn't have been more right because he was talking about himself. But everyone heard him say that, and no one would think it was him if he was the one to say these things, right? So let's fast forward a little bit to what's going on right now. So just a few days ago, there was a problem that arose with a Twitter spat that he was having with another gentleman by the name of CZ. CZ is the founder of the world's biggest crypto exchange called Binance. And they were on Twitter, and they were having kind of a little bit of a dispute because CZ started selling off a token by the name of FTT. It's kind of like, like a Bitcoin, but not so much. It's just a token that's pretty worthless, right? But it had value because people were buying and selling it. So anything you buy and sell and there's a demand for, it has value. So Binance, who originally had funded FTX, and when I mean funded, he was one of the early contributors or early investors in the company. They were compensated in FTT token when they wanted to take their initial investment out. Now, this FTT token only has value because at the time there was a little bit of a demand for it, but Binance started selling off this FTT token for multiple reasons. One of the reasons is because Sam Bankman-Fried, come to find out, has been secretly behind CZ's back, trying to get him in trouble with regulators here in the United States because Sam wants to be the only player in the game. He wants a monopoly on cryptocurrency. So CZ started selling off this FTT token for one of the reasons is because Sam has been just one hell of a guy to him, and the other reason is because he realized that they're sitting on all of this FTT token. I believe it was about $580 million worth of this token. It's worthless. And he was thinking to himself, let me just sell all this stuff before it goes to nothing. So he starts dumping the token, and then FTX catches wind of this, and they told him, please stop dumping this token because you're going to make this thing be worth zero, worth nothing. And the reason why is because nobody really wants this token. No one's buying it. So once these tokens start hitting the market, the price plummets quickly. And if the price of the token plummets, then it's really going to just bankrupt FTX as well. So the CEO of Alameda Research, which is also tied in very closely to FTX, asked CZ to please stop selling the token, that we'll buy it all from you at $22. Did he listen? Absolutely not. As a matter of fact, CZ just kept selling more and more, which led FTX later on to say, okay, we're throwing in the towel. We're actually going to sell the company. We're going to sell FTX to Binance. And then Binance really didn't want to buy this company, but Binance knew that if they didn't step in and do something about this, this could cause a humongous ripple effect in the crypto market, which could lead Bitcoin and Ethereum to just plummet, and that's not good for anybody. So after looking at the books, CZ saw that there was a humongous hole. There was something really wrong with this guy's books, right? Come to find out, there's almost about $10 billion that's missing from FTX exchange. Now, that's not FTX's money. That's depositors' money. So let's just say that you went to the FTX exchange and you bought some Bitcoin. Now, that Bitcoin that you have on there, sometimes people take it off the exchange and they store it in a cold wallet, which is basically, it's like a little thumb drive where you keep all your tokens and your keys, and that's the most safe way to keep your tokens. And if you guys want one of those, there's a link down below for it. But a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people keep their tokens on exchanges because they just feel like it's safe. You know, there hasn't been any problems with FTX in the past. You know, they got all these celebrities endorsing them, so why not leave it there? And on top of that, there's also people that trade, which means you have to have money on the exchange, either in the form of cash, in the form of stable coins, or in the form of crypto. And people who have had it there because they're trading consistently, well, all of that money combined with the tokens that have been on there have been either compromised by being taken off the exchange and funneled to Alameda, or have been used to then go and take out loans with other lending sources. So the money's not there. There's a $10 billion just massive hole in their books. And so what happened? The money went to Alameda. And what did Alameda do with it? Do they have it on their books? Absolutely not. That money's gone as well. That money is, on top of that money being gone, there's money from Alameda that's gone that they don't even know where it is. They're just a humongous mess. So once CZ saw this, it just became apparent that this was not going to fly. All right, so that's the story that you need to know about what's happening here with FTX. So after Sam Bankman-Fried was basically caught with his pants down, he admitted that, okay, I messed up, I screwed up. He wrote a huge long tweet storms basically saying that they made a mistake and that he used funds from FTX that were mislabeled. He thought it was their money and it really wasn't their money. And he says, I should have done better, but I effed up. You know, he messed up, right? He said, I'm so sorry. He said he was very sorry. But but just this apology just came a day or two after he said, there's nothing wrong with our company. We're super solid. We're 1-to-1. We have all your assets. No need to worry. No need to worry. No need to panic. So far, every CEO or founder that has said that about their crypto exchange has been complete BS. They've always lied. It's always been the Celsius, the same thing. And just everybody has basically follows the same script. Now, the problem that we're having is that he went on to say that FTX US, which is a separate exchange that's only for US users, that one was fine. And then just a day later, he then files for bankruptcy for FTX International, FTX.com, I guess it would call, FTX US, and 134 other companies that Sam Bankman-Fried owns and operates. So 134 companies under his supervision all filed for bankruptcy. And just a day ago, he was saying that things were fine. It's just nuts. And it gets even worse than this. So once he filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection, the court assigned someone to oversee, step in as the temporary CEO of the company to make sure that all the assets could be properly liquidated and then distributed however much is left over to the people who have been affected. Just the day after this court-assigned CEO takes over, the exchange is hacked. The exchange is hacked and taken for hundreds of millions of dollars that has been left over in the exchange, and the money's gone. There was a hack. And a lot of people are thinking that this hack is a built-in backdoor that FTX built in order for them to be able to have an escape route if this ever happened. Because how coincidental could it be that the day after you file bankruptcy, you know, the money disappears, you get hacked the very next day? It's not very likely for that to just be a coincidence, right? Now, there's about 10 of these folks, which are the executives at both of these companies, who live in a compound in the Bahamas. Now, I searched to see what this place looked like, but couldn't find anything. These guys were keeping a very low cover in the Bahamas. But now, from what I understand, authorities have basically raided their home. Now, the reason I'm telling you this is because I want to kind of give you some context to the kind of people they are. Now, these 10 folks that lived in this compound in the Bahamas, not only were they a bunch of young kids, but they were, number one, dating each other, which is, come on, you're running a multi-billion-dollar company, you're dating the people that are your CEOs and your people who are your chiefs? Come on, this is nonsense, right? Number two, these people were using prescription drugs on a daily basis. They even had an in-house doctor who would just assign scripts for them all the time. And in the Bahamas, I don't even know if you need prescriptions, but these guys were reportedly all on drugs. It's nuts, right? Now, on top of all of this, it gets even crazier. The employees who would work on a low level at FTX, they wanted to blow the whistle a long time ago, but they have come out and said in secrecy for protection purposes that if they would have said anything, they were scared that they would have been killed. Now, in the last 2 days or so, it's been very quiet over at the FTX camp. As a matter of fact, a lot of people think that Sam Bankman-Fried is no longer in the Bahamas. Some people think that he has chartered a jet to Argentina. Some people say that no, he's still in the Bahamas. So there's a lot of rumors and allegations still floating around. Now, guys, I want you to understand something. Everything that I'm seeing here are just allegations. Nothing has been proven yet. None of this stuff has gone to court. These are just my opinions. So anything here could possibly be wrong, and maybe it is wrong. You guys should do your own research. Okay, so now let's talk about part two, the repercussions. What could happen now that we have all these issues on the table? So a lot of us have been hoping that corporate adoption was just around the corner, because we got a very nice boost when Tesla put Bitcoin on their treasury, also Block, and then we have companies like MicroStrategies who owns thousands and thousands of Bitcoin. We're hoping that this was going to be a more mainstream thing. But now with all of these scandals and all of this bad publicity that's floating around there, do you think that any board is going to approve these publicly traded companies to get Bitcoin or Ethereum, since the prices have been so wild and just because of all this craziness and the fraud that's been going on? Probably not for a few years, maybe not even for 5, maybe 10 years, who knows, right? This has really set us back a lot, which is not what we've been looking for. The other repercussion that we might see from here is that more exchanges might just go offline, just like FTX just did. We're already getting rumors that crypto.com may be around the corner, and that's just a rumor right now. There's another exchange who just halted any withdrawals called AAX, who I just heard about before shooting this video, and I'm sure there's going to be plenty more. So if you've got any stablecoins, any cash, or if you got any tokens on any exchange whatsoever, even if it's Coinbase, it doesn't matter, guys. I strongly suggest, if I was in your position, I'd be putting them on cold storage wallets. So remember, if you need one, there's a link to one down below. I don't even know if they're even in stock right now, but you may want to try to get your hands on one. Okay, now this is a big one that I want to express to you, and this is where it gets very, very ugly. So regulations are probably going to come down like a hammer. I'm telling you, it's really bad. But regulation is actually something that the crypto market has actually been looking for. We wanted some fair regulation where we have some input on what's going to happen, but there's an issue that's going on right now. You see, there's a lady by the name of Debbie Stabenow. She's a senator, right? She has been working on this bill, a crypto bill, that right now is getting force-fed through the Senate. But I'm going to tell you this right now, it's not a good bill. And it's not because I've read the bill, I haven't even seen the bill, and hopefully I get my hands on it, I'll make a separate video on it. The reason why I'm telling you this is bad news is because Sam Bankman-Fried has basically wrote the bill. Why do I say that? Because Debbie Stabenow, one of her biggest contributors to her campaign in this year is, who else? FTX, and that's something that no one has even brought up. That is one of the biggest conflicts of interest that I've ever seen. Imagine if you, let's just give you an example. Let's just say, imagine if you were in trouble with the IRS and you owed a ton of money, and then someone gave you the opportunity to basically rewrite the tax code, right? And then your bill was going to change the tax code. And wouldn't you write something in there that would give you some kind of a way out or a loophole in order to buy you time or maybe get you forgiven for some of this money? Of course, that's what's happening here. So whatever bill that Debbie Stabenow is proposing should be completely scrapped and should be rewritten by people who did not have any coercion, people who did not have any collusion with Sam Bankman-Fried, people who are just out there and want to see crypto succeed. All right, so this is part 3, and this is where it starts to get very crazy and super corrupt. Now, the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, they're supposed to be in charge of overseeing the crypto market, right? But they really haven't been issuing out any types of, I would say, regulation so people could know what to do. But it hasn't stopped them from suing a ton of crypto projects, including some of the biggest ones like XRP. But they haven't done any of the right things. Why am I saying this? Because back in 2021, someone actually wrote up a formal complaint about Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX. And what happened? It was completely ignored by the SEC. As a matter of fact, the head of the SEC, Gary Gensler, he's actually met with FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried after the complaint has been issued, which is complete bonkers. He hasn't even been arrested. He hasn't been issued a lawsuit, nothing, right? Completely just skating off. Why do you think this is? You think it's just because of his one donation that he gave to Joe Biden's campaign? No. I'm going to tell you why. There is a lot more collusion that's going on here that most people don't even know about. So check this out. So Gary Gensler, he used to be a professor at MIT, the same college that Sam Bankman-Fried graduated from. But it gets even crazier than that. The reason why is because when Gary was there was a gentleman by the name of Glenn Ellison. Now, Glenn Ellison is the father of Caroline Ellison, who happens to be the CEO of Alameda Research. Also, she is the girlfriend or ex-girlfriend of Sam Bankman-Fried. So there is a crazy. When I first heard this, I was like, wait, who? What? It's like so many moving parts. But you have Glenn Ellison here, who is basically the boss of Gary Gensler while he was at MIT, who then has a daughter who ends up running Alameda Research. And then you have Gary Gensler over here, who ends up going to the SEC. And then you have Sam Bankman-Fried down here, who's connected to all of these people, which is complete. It's criminal, right? Is there a better word for it? It's just criminal. How do these people get away with this stuff? It's so blatant, right? And now it just takes something like this to happen for all the cards to crumble and for people actually to start to see how corrupt this country really is. Now, but one of the reasons I want to tell you this is because when I was doing research on this topic, I want to bring something up to you. I found an article when I researched Caroline Ellison, and in that article, the information from her parents is actually missing. So I couldn't find any information to tie them together. So what I had to do was I actually went into MIT's website and I looked up the name Ellison and I found the guy. What I did was I Googled his name and then I found another article from many, many years ago where he talks about his daughter Caroline. So, you got the connection there. It's crazy. It's nuts how deep this goes. But I'm going to go even a little bit further. The general counsel or the attorney for FTX is also the attorney for, who else? Gary Gensler. Can you believe that? That's insane. I found that on a Twitter post. Again, guys, these are allegations. I don't know if this is true or not, but this is what we're hearing, okay? Very corrupt what's going on over here, and this is why FTX has gone on to do so much damage because they were basically not even being watched. They were so far under the radar that they could have skated off doing this for many, many more years as long as they kept getting more and more money in the door. This could have gone on for more and more years, guys. This could have been even bigger than Bernie Madoff's. There is not a big difference between what this guy did and Bernie Madoff. The only difference is that this guy even had more higher level connections than Bernie Madoff himself. So needless to say, SBF, Sam Bankman-Fried, has lost all of the money for FTX. He's gone from being one of the wealthiest people in crypto. I think he was worth about almost $30 billion, and now he's bankrupt, so he's worth nothing. Unbelievable what has transpired. But I will tell you this much. There is one person, and I found a tweet by a guy named Tom Emmer, who is, he's not too happy. He is also, I think he's a representative. He's either a House of Representatives or he's a senator, one of the two. I'll leave his information down below. Well, what he is saying is that, Gary, we're on to you, and we're going to be investigating you on this, and I hope to God that they do. So hopefully this hasn't been set up and perpetrated by the government on purpose to actually crash cryptocurrencies. Hey, but you never know. Anything is possible. Now, you might be asking yourself, is there any way in the future that we can get maybe a warning? Is there a way in the future we can get a warning if something like this is happening? Or how should we have known that this place was corrupt or this company was BS? Well, I'll be very honest with you. The signs were there the whole time. As a matter of fact, there was a Super Bowl commercial that basically told us that this was a sham. If you don't believe me, go ahead and watch it right now.
And like I was saying, it's FTX. It's a safe and easy way to get into crypto.
I don't think so. And I'm never wrong about this stuff.